There was a young man named Aaron who had always felt like life was moving faster than he could keep up with. Every day, he would wake up with a promise to himself that today would be different, that today he would finally focus, that today he would finally start changing. But by the time the sun set, he found himself in the same place he always had, books scattered around him, unfinished assignments, a mind restless and wandering in 1,000 different directions. He watched his friends chase dreams, plan for colleges, talk about ambitions with excitement and clarity, and felt the crushing weight of comparison pressing down on his shoulders. Every failure, every distraction, every lost moment seemed to whisper that he was not enough. And for a long time, he believed it. He told himself over and over that he wasn't smart enough, disciplined enough, or capable enough to succeed. He thought he was trapped by his own mind, a prisoner of wandering thoughts and endless procrastination, a boy who could never master the one tool that mattered most, himself. One afternoon, while sitting alone in the quiet corner of his local library, frustration bubbling in his chest, Aaron whispered to himself, "Why can't I control my own mind? Why do I keep failing myself?" It was in that moment that his literature teacher, Mr. Bennett, approached him, a man known not only for his wisdom in books but for his uncanny ability to see what others couldn't. He sat beside Aaron and, without judgment, asked him gently, "What is it that you seek, Aaron? What is it that your heart wants from your mind?" Aaron's eyes welled up, not fully understanding the question, but feeling its weight. "I just want to focus. I want to be better. I want to be someone who can trust himself," he admitted. Mr. Bennett smiled softly and said, "Then listen carefully. The mind is not your enemy, Aaron. It is your wildest companion, your fiercest ally, and your most demanding teacher. You do not need to fight it, you need to guide it. You do not need to control it through force, you need to understand it and nurture it. And when you do, it will carry you farther than you ever imagined." Over the next few weeks, Aaron began learning lessons that would transform him in ways he had never thought possible. He discovered that calmness was the foundation of focus. Every time he felt rushed or panicked, his mind became a storm, scattering attention and draining energy. But when he paused, breathed, and allowed himself to simply exist in the moment, clarity emerged like sunlight breaking through dark clouds. He learned that forcing himself to study harder or longer produced little results, but approaching each task with understanding and curiosity allowed him to dive deeply into learning and retain knowledge effortlessly. Each subject became a puzzle to be understood, not a burden to be endured. Aaron realized that small habits, repeated consistently, could shape a future that once seemed impossible. 10 minutes a day of dedicated focus grew into 20, then 40, and eventually became a natural rhythm of his life. He found that the tiny steps mattered more than grand gestures because they built momentum, confidence, and trust in himself. The most profound realization came when Aaron started reflecting on why he distracted himself in the first place. It wasn't just laziness or weakness, it was fear, insecurity, and uncertainty. He wrote down every thought that pulled him away from focus, every anxiety that whispered doubt, and every moment he felt unworthy of his own effort. As he traced these patterns, he began to understand his mind's language, its needs, and its hidden motivations. He saw that procrastination was not a flaw, but a signal, distraction was not a punishment, but a clue. By listening and responding rather than resisting, he began to harmonize with the rhythm of his thoughts rather than battling against them. Slowly, the chaotic whirlwind of his mind transformed into a steady current, guiding him instead of dragging him. Consistency became the ultimate key. Aaron realized that transformation was not an event but a process. Every day that he chose focus, every day he honored his small habits, every day he reflected on his thoughts, he reinforced a new identity. 1 month of daily practice became 2, then 3, and with each passing week, confidence replaced doubt, clarity replaced chaos, and purpose replaced aimlessness. He began to notice subtle changes: the ease with which he read, the patience with which he listened, the creativity that emerged in his writing, and the energy that now fueled his actions. These changes were invisible at first, but their impact was profound. He no longer feared challenges because he had trained his mind to face them calmly. He no longer doubted his worth because he had built evidence of his own competence. He no longer wandered through life passively because he had discovered the incredible power of his focused, disciplined mind. Through this journey, Aaron came to understand that every human has the same tools within them. The difference lies not in talent or circumstance, but in the willingness to guide the mind, to practice patience, to embrace reflection, and to persist through small, consistent actions. Each moment of mindfulness, each deliberate effort, each act of understanding and self-compassion adds to a cumulative force that eventually transforms the impossible into the possible. Aaron's story is not just about studying or school, it is about life. It is about how anyone, no matter how lost, distracted, or overwhelmed, can reclaim control over their mind, cultivate focus, and create a life of purpose, clarity, and fulfillment. His journey teaches us that calmness, understanding, small habits, reflection, and consistency are not abstract ideas. They are practical, actionable steps that anyone can take, beginning today, in this very moment, with just a willingness to try. And so, Aaron's life changed not through magic or luck, but through understanding himself, guiding his mind with gentle discipline, embracing tiny habits, learning from reflection, and showing up every day. He became someone who trusted his own abilities, someone whose mind no longer wandered aimlessly but moved with intention, and someone who realized that the greatest victories are won quietly within, long before they manifest outwardly. His story reminds us all that no matter where we begin, no matter how lost or scattered we feel, the mind we cultivate today becomes the life we live tomorrow, and the person we train ourselves to be is the one who will step forward into every opportunity, every challenge, and every dream. As Aaron continued on this journey of understanding and mastering his mind, he began to notice something extraordinary. Life, which had once felt heavy and burdensome, started to unfold in ways he had never imagined. Every morning he woke up with a sense of purpose, no longer weighed down by uncertainty or fear. His focus wasn't just on schoolwork anymore, it had seeped into every corner of his life. He noticed small things, how his conversations became clearer, how he could listen to others without his thoughts wandering, how even mundane tasks gained meaning because he was fully present. One afternoon, as he walked through the park, he observed people rushing past him, each caught in their own whirlwind of worries and distractions. He realized that most of them were like he had been, trapped in their own minds, unaware of the immense power that could be harnessed with just a little patience and focus. He thought about how easy it was to blame circumstances, to feel that the world was against him, or that talent and opportunity belonged only to others. But now he knew differently. The power to change life wasn't outside him, it had always been within him, waiting to be awakened through deliberate practice and mindful action. Aaron began sharing small pieces of what he had learned with his friends. At first, they were skeptical, laughing at the idea that meditation, reflection, and small daily habits could really change anything. But Aaron didn't argue. He simply shared his own experiences, how spending 10 minutes a day in focused study, or reflecting on his thoughts each night, had gradually reshaped his confidence, clarity, and energy. Over time, some of his friends began to notice changes in themselves too. They started trying the practices he suggested, not because he demanded it, but because they saw the transformation in him and wanted it for themselves. Aaron understood an essential truth. Change spreads silently through example, not force. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Aaron sat with Mr. Bennett once again. "Sir," he said, "I feel different. I can't describe it exactly, but I feel alive, focused, like I'm finally on my own path. But sometimes, I still feel doubt creeping in." Mr. Bennett nodded knowingly. "That is normal," he said. "Even the most disciplined mind faces moments of uncertainty. What matters is not that doubt exists, but how you respond to it. Each time you notice it and gently return to your focus, you reinforce your strength. Each time you pause, breathe, and choose understanding over panic, you solidify your foundation. Life will always present challenges, but a trained mind is never lost. It adapts, persists, and finds its way." Aaron realized that true mastery wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about never feeling distracted, anxious, or fearful. It was about learning to respond consciously, to guide himself with awareness, and to embrace each moment as an opportunity to practice. He learned that the mind is like a garden. If you neglect it, weeds of doubt, fear, and distraction grow uncontrollably. But if you water it with focus, sunlight of calmness, and patience, flowers of clarity, creativity, and confidence bloom abundantly. As days turned into weeks, Aaron's routine became a natural rhythm. He would start his morning with reflection, a brief meditation that set the tone for the day. He approached his studies not as tasks to complete, but as opportunities to understand and explore. He noticed improvements not only academically but socially as well. He was more present with his friends, more attentive with his family, and more confident in conversations. He began to enjoy the process of learning, of self-discovery, and of building a life intentionally, moment by moment. One pivotal day, Aaron faced a challenge that tested everything he had learned. A major exam approached, one that could determine the next stage of his education. In the past, he would have panicked, stayed up all night, or procrastinated until the last moment. But now, he approached it differently. He created a plan, broke the content into manageable sections, and practiced his focus and reflection techniques daily. When moments of doubt arose, he reminded himself that mastery is not about avoiding difficulty, but about responding with awareness and persistence. On the day of the exam, he felt calm, prepared, and centered. The questions that once would have overwhelmed him now felt approachable. He navigated the test with clarity, confidence, and calm focus. The result was remarkable. Not just the grade he received, but the realization that he had become someone who could trust himself. Aaron understood that success was no longer defined by external validation alone, but by the internal mastery of his mind. This victory, small as it might seem to others, was monumental for him. It represented months of discipline, reflection, habit building, and conscious practice. It represented the triumph of a mind once chaotic over the forces that had held it back. From that point forward, Aaron's life continued to evolve. Opportunities arose that he never expected because he was now fully equipped to recognize and seize them. His relationships deepened as he listened more and reacted less. His creativity flourished because a focused mind allowed ideas to flow freely rather than being lost in the noise of distraction. He discovered that even failures became lessons, each setback a chance to observe, reflect, and improve. He began to see life as a continuous journey of growth rather than a series of obstacles to survive. Aaron also learned the importance of gratitude. As he reflected on his progress, he realized that every step forward was built on small, consistent actions. The simple act of showing up each day, practicing focus, and embracing reflection had compounded into life-changing results. Gratitude for the process, rather than just the outcome, became a cornerstone of his mindset. This perspective allowed him to celebrate progress, maintain motivation, and remain patient with himself when challenges arose. As he walked through his town, he often encountered young people struggling as he once had. He would smile, sometimes offer gentle guidance, sometimes simply lead by example. Aaron understood that the power of a focused, disciplined mind is not just personal, it radiates outward, inspiring others without effort, encouraging change through the authenticity of one's own life. He became living proof that ordinary people, facing ordinary challenges, could achieve extraordinary transformation through consistent, mindful action. And so, Aaron's story continues as a testament to the power of the human mind, the resilience of the human spirit, and the profound impact of small, deliberate choices repeated day after day. He learned that life's obstacles are not permanent barriers but opportunities to practice mastery. He discovered that calmness, focus, understanding, small habits, reflection, consistency, and gratitude are the keys to a fulfilled, empowered, and meaningful life. In sharing this story, the message is simple yet powerful: you are capable of transformation. No matter how lost, distracted, or overwhelmed you feel, you have within you the ability to reclaim your mind, cultivate focus, and build the life you desire. Like Aaron, start with small steps. Begin today. Reflect, practice, be consistent. Trust yourself. The path may not be easy, but it is navigable, and the rewards are life-changing. As the months went by, Aaron began to notice something remarkable about himself that he had never imagined possible. His mind, which had once been a chaotic whirlwind of fear, doubt, and distraction, had become a steady current of focus and clarity. Tasks that used to seem overwhelming now felt manageable, and challenges that once caused panic became opportunities for growth. He realized that the transformation he experienced wasn't because of sudden luck or extraordinary talent. It was the cumulative result of small, intentional actions repeated consistently over time. Each morning he devoted to reflection, each moment he practiced focus, and each habit he nurtured had compounded into a powerful force that shaped his daily life. Aaron also discovered a deeper understanding of patience. In the past, he had expected instant results, frustration growing with every moment that didn't bring immediate success. But now he understood that mastery is not instantaneous, it is gradual, like water slowly shaping a rock over years. He learned to embrace the process, to find meaning in the small victories and quiet moments of progress. Even when he stumbled, even when distractions crept back, he no longer berated himself. Instead, he observed, reflected, and returned to his practices with renewed determination. This mindset became his shield against discouragement and his engine for perseverance. One afternoon, while walking along a quiet trail near his home, Aaron reflected on the journey he had taken. He thought about the countless nights he had felt lost, staring at textbooks that seemed incomprehensible, his mind refusing to cooperate. He thought about the doubts and fears that had once paralyzed him, and he realized that each of those moments had been necessary. Without the struggle, without the wandering mind, he would never have learned the power of discipline, focus, and reflection. He understood that life's challenges are not punishments but essential teachers, guiding us to discover our inner strength. As he continued to practice these lessons, Aaron noticed another profound shift. His relationships improved. He became more present with friends and family, truly listening rather than merely hearing. Conversations became meaningful because he was attentive, thoughtful, and engaged. People began to notice a quiet confidence in him, a calm energy that made others feel understood and supported. He realized that focus and clarity of mind don't just enhance personal achievement, they enrich every interaction, every connection, and every relationship. The lessons he had learned about guiding his own mind began to ripple outward, influencing those around him in subtle yet powerful ways. Aaron's academic life flourished as well. What once felt like impossible assignments and confusing subjects now became challenges he approached strategically and thoughtfully. He discovered that understanding the material deeply, rather than memorizing superficially, allowed him to retain knowledge effortlessly and apply it creatively. He learned to break complex problems into smaller, manageable steps, celebrating each small victory along the way. His grades improved not because of sheer effort, but because of intelligent, focused, and deliberate action. This reinforced an essential truth he had learned from Mr. Bennett. Results are a byproduct of mastery, not the primary goal. Alongside academic success, Aaron began cultivating creativity. With a mind that was calm and focused, ideas flowed freely. Writing, drawing, and brainstorming became exercises in exploration rather than tasks burdened by expectation. He discovered joy in the process, delighting in the act of creating rather than obsessing over the outcome. This newfound creativity enriched his perspective on life, making everyday experiences more vivid, meaningful, and inspiring. He realized that the ability to think clearly and focus deeply doesn't just improve efficiency, it opens the door to innovation, imagination, and self-expression. One of the most valuable lessons Aaron absorbed during this time was the importance of reflection. Every night, before closing his eyes, he took a few minutes to review his day, not to criticize himself, but to observe. What worked, what didn't, what distracted him, and why. This simple act of self-awareness became a cornerstone of his growth. He noticed patterns, anticipated challenges, and proactively adjusted his actions. Reflection transformed mistakes from sources of shame into opportunities for insight, turning setbacks into stepping stones. Over time, Aaron realized that the quality of his reflection directly influenced the quality of his actions and, ultimately, his life. Aaron also began understanding the power of gratitude. As he reflected on his journey, he recognized that every small habit, every moment of focus, every decision to stay present had contributed to his transformation. He learned to appreciate the process, to celebrate progress, and to honor the effort rather than only the outcome. Gratitude became a stabilizing force, anchoring him during moments of uncertainty and reminding him that growth is a journey, not a destination. This mindset further strengthened his focus, resilience, and overall well-being, creating a positive feedback loop that reinforced his new way of living. With each passing day, Aaron's life became a living example of what is possible when one trains the mind deliberately and consistently. He discovered that success is not reserved for the naturally gifted or the exceptionally lucky. It is available to anyone willing to practice focus, patience, reflection, and small, intentional actions. The power to change is within every individual, it simply requires awareness, discipline, and the courage to start, day after day. Aaron's journey was not without obstacles. Moments of doubt still arose, distractions still appeared, and challenges sometimes seemed insurmountable. But now, equipped with his new mindset and practices, he faced each difficulty with resilience. He reminded himself that the mind is like a muscle. The more it is trained, the stronger it becomes. Each challenge, each distraction, each setback became an opportunity to exercise his mental strength, to deepen his focus, and to reinforce the habits that had transformed his life. Through his experience, Aaron realized an essential truth: the mind is the most powerful tool any human possesses. When it is calm, focused, and disciplined, it can accomplish extraordinary things. When it is neglected, wandering, or overwhelmed, it can limit potential, create unnecessary suffering, and obscure the path forward. By taking ownership of his mind, guiding it intentionally, and nurturing it through small, consistent practices, Aaron unlocked a level of freedom, clarity, and achievement he had never imagined. As Aaron looked toward the future, he felt a profound sense of confidence and possibility. He understood that the lessons he had learned were not temporary tricks, but lifelong principles. Calmness, focus, understanding, small habits, reflection, consistency, and gratitude were now integral to who he was. They had become his default mode of operating, shaping not just his actions, but his thoughts, emotions, and worldview. Aaron knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he had developed the capacity to navigate them with clarity, courage, and purpose. Aaron's story stands as a testament to the incredible potential within every human being. It demonstrates that transformation is not a matter of circumstance, talent, or luck, but of intentionality, consistency, and the courage to engage with one's mind fully. His journey inspires us to recognize that we, too, can overcome distraction, doubt, and fear, and that the life we desire is achievable through disciplined, mindful, and reflective action. By cultivating focus, practicing patience, nurturing small habits, and embracing gratitude, we can unlock our true potential and create a life of purpose, fulfillment, and joy. Aaron's journey continued, and with each passing day, he felt more in tune with himself and the world around him. He realized that the lessons he had learned were not just about studying or achieving goals, they were about living fully, intentionally, and with awareness. Every thought, every action, every choice mattered. He understood that life itself is a series of moments, and the quality of those moments is determined by the clarity, focus, and calmness of the mind. The realization brought him a deep sense of peace that he had never known before. One day, Aaron faced a particularly challenging situation. His family had encountered a serious problem that required him to stay calm, think clearly, and act decisively. In the past, he might have panicked, been overwhelmed, or frozen in fear. But now, he approached the problem with confidence. He reflected on what needed to be done, identified the steps he could take, and executed them calmly and effectively. His family noticed the change in him, the quiet strength and steady presence that guided them through uncertainty. It was in moments like these that Aaron truly understood the power of a disciplined mind. The lessons were no longer abstract, they were lived, tangible, and transformative. As he continued to grow, Aaron also began to help others more intentionally. He realized that the skills he had developed could be shared, that his experiences could inspire and guide those who were struggling as he once had. He started mentoring younger students, offering guidance, and sharing the techniques that had transformed his life. But he did so not with arrogance or authority, but with humility and empathy. He understood that each person's journey is unique and that true guidance comes from listening, understanding, and encouraging growth rather than imposing it. Through helping others, Aaron discovered another layer of fulfillment, the joy that comes from making a positive impact, from seeing someone else realize their potential because of a simple act of support. Aaron also became deeply aware of the importance of self-compassion. For years, he had been harsh on himself, judging every mistake, criticizing every moment of distraction, and feeling unworthy when he fell short of expectations. But he learned that growth is not linear, and that self-criticism often hinders progress. By treating himself with kindness, forgiving his missteps, and viewing challenges as opportunities rather than failures, he created a nurturing environment for his mind to flourish. This compassionate approach made him resilient, patient, and willing to take risks, knowing that mistakes were part of the learning process, not a reflection of his worth. Through this journey, Aaron discovered the profound impact of consistency. Each small habit, each focused study session, each moment of reflection had compounded over time into a life of structure, purpose, and achievement. He realized that consistency is not a rigid routine but a commitment to showing up, even when motivation fades, even when obstacles arise, and even when progress seems slow. The power of consistency lies in its ability to transform ordinary actions into extraordinary results, and Aaron had experienced it firsthand. As he looked back on his life, Aaron marveled at the transformation. He remembered the young man who once sat in the library, overwhelmed by doubt, fear, and distraction. That young man felt powerless, incapable, and lost. And now, he felt the opposite. He felt empowered, capable, and in control. He had learned to harness the incredible potential of his mind, to guide it with discipline, to nurture it with reflection, and to strengthen it with small, consistent actions. The transformation was not just external, it was internal, a profound shift in his identity and perception of the world. Aaron's story also highlighted the importance of embracing challenges. He understood that obstacles are inevitable, that life will always present difficulties, and that true strength is revealed not in times of ease, but in moments of struggle. He approached challenges with curiosity and resilience, viewing them as opportunities to practice focus, patience, and problem-solving. This perspective made him courageous, adaptable, and capable of facing uncertainty with confidence. He realized that the mind, when trained, is a powerful tool that can navigate complexity, overcome fear, and create solutions where none seemed possible. Over time, Aaron began to experience the ripple effects of his transformation. His creativity expanded, his relationships deepened, and his confidence grew. He discovered that a focused and disciplined mind not only improves personal achievement but also enhances the quality of life itself. Every conversation, every task, every decision became more deliberate, more meaningful, and more aligned with his true goals and values. He understood that life is not merely about surviving or achieving, it is about living intentionally, cultivating inner strength, and embracing each moment with awareness and presence. Aaron's journey ultimately revealed a universal truth: the power to transform one's life lies within. It does not depend on external circumstances, luck, or innate talent. It depends on the willingness to engage with one's mind, to practice focus and reflection, to build small habits consistently, and to cultivate patience, self-compassion, and gratitude. The mind is the greatest resource anyone possesses, and when guided intentionally, it can create a life of profound meaning, fulfillment, and joy. As Aaron continued to live his life with focus, discipline, and awareness, he realized that the journey itself was the reward. Every step, every effort, every moment of reflection contributed to the person he was becoming. He understood that transformation is not a destination but a continuous process, a lifelong practice of learning, growing, and evolving. He embraced this process with enthusiasm and gratitude, knowing that each day offered an opportunity to strengthen his mind, expand his perspective, and deepen his understanding of himself and the world. Through his experiences, Aaron became a source of inspiration to those around him. Friends, family, and peers noticed the calm, confident, and deliberate way he approached life. They saw how his presence brought clarity, how his actions inspired, and how his mindset transformed challenges into opportunities. His journey demonstrated that true change is possible, that the mind can be trained, and that ordinary individuals can achieve extraordinary results through consistent, mindful, and intentional practice. Aaron's story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the transformative power of focus, and the importance of deliberate action. It reminds us that no matter how lost, distracted, or overwhelmed we may feel, we all have the capacity to reclaim control over our minds, cultivate clarity, and create a life of purpose and fulfillment. By embracing small, consistent habits, practicing reflection, nurturing patience, and maintaining gratitude, anyone can unlock their potential and step into a future defined not by limitation, but by possibility. As Aaron's journey progressed, he began to understand a profound truth: life is a mirror of the mind. The chaos, the clarity, the fear, the courage, everything we experience externally is first reflected internally. The young man who once felt trapped by distraction and self-doubt now realized that freedom had always been within his grasp. It wasn't about waiting for circumstances to change or for opportunities to appear. It was about transforming the way he approached each moment, each thought, each action. By taking responsibility for his mind, he had unlocked a reservoir of potential that could create extraordinary outcomes in every aspect of life. One evening, while sitting alone under the vast expanse of a starry sky, Aaron reflected on his journey. The memories of frustration, self-doubt, and hopelessness came to mind, but instead of pain, he felt gratitude. Each struggle, each mistake, each distraction had been a teacher in disguise. He thought about the countless hours of reflection, meditation, and focused practice, the moments that had felt so insignificant at the time. And now, he could see how those small actions had accumulated into a life of clarity, purpose, and confidence. He realized that transformation is rarely dramatic. It happens quietly, subtly, consistently, and eventually, it becomes undeniable. Aaron had also discovered the incredible ripple effect of personal growth. As he grew stronger, calmer, and more focused, those around him began to benefit. His friends noticed his calm presence, his family felt his steady support, and peers admired his thoughtful approach to challenges. Change does not exist in isolation, it radiates outward, touching lives and inspiring others in ways we often do not anticipate. By mastering himself, Aaron had inadvertently become a beacon of hope and guidance for those around him, proving that personal transformation is not just about individual achievement, it is about creating a positive impact on the world. He understood that the journey of mastering the mind is lifelong. Even the most disciplined individuals encounter moments of distraction, doubt, or fatigue. What separates those who thrive from those who remain stagnant is not the absence of obstacles but the ability to navigate them with awareness and resilience. Aaron learned to view every challenge as an opportunity to strengthen his focus, deepen his understanding, and reinforce his habits. The mind, like a muscle, grows stronger with deliberate practice, and every effort invested compounds into long-term growth and empowerment. One of the most profound lessons Aaron embraced was the importance of purpose. Focus alone is not enough, it must be directed toward meaningful goals and aligned with one's values. He began to set intentions for his actions, not just to accomplish tasks but to grow as a person, to contribute positively to the lives of others, and to live with authenticity. This alignment between purpose and action brought a sense of fulfillment that had eluded him in the past. He realized that when the mind is focused and disciplined, and the heart is aligned with purpose, life becomes not just manageable, but profoundly rewarding. Aaron also discovered the power of reflection as a continuous practice. Every night, he would pause to observe his thoughts, analyze his actions, and understand the subtle patterns that influenced his behavior. This practice allowed him to anticipate challenges, respond consciously rather than react impulsively, and continuously refine his approach to life. Reflection became a tool not just for learning, but for mastering himself, reinforcing the principle that awareness is the foundation of transformation. Through his experiences, Aaron learned to embrace uncertainty and change. He recognized that life is inherently unpredictable, but the mind, when trained, can navigate uncertainty with confidence and grace. Rather than fearing the unknown, he approached it as an opportunity to practice focus, patience, and resilience. He learned that adaptability is a crucial component of mastery, and that flexibility, coupled with consistent habits, creates a mind capable of thriving in any circumstance. As he approached the final stages of his journey, Aaron reflected on the most valuable lesson of all: the power to change lies within each individual. No circumstance, no external factor, and no limitation can prevent a person from transforming their life when they commit to consistent, mindful, and intentional action. The mind is both the battlefield and the victory. Mastery of it unlocks every door, overcomes every obstacle, and reveals a life of infinite possibilities. Aaron's transformation was now complete, not in the sense that he had reached perfection, but in the sense that he had discovered the principles, practices, and mindset required to navigate life with clarity, strength, and purpose. He knew that life would continue to present challenges, that distractions and doubts would arise, and that growth is an ongoing process. But now he possessed the tools, habits, and perspective to face each day with confidence, resilience, and hope. In the end, Aaron's story is a powerful reminder to all of us: the mind is the key to life's transformation. Calmness, focus, understanding, small habits, reflection, consistency, gratitude, purpose, and resilience are not abstract concepts. They are practical, actionable steps that can reshape the trajectory of any life. No matter where you start, no matter how lost or overwhelmed you feel, The journey of mastering your mind begins with one choice: to engage consciously, to practice consistently, and to believe in your potential. Aaron's life became an embodiment of this truth. He demonstrated that ordinary people, facing ordinary challenges, can achieve extraordinary transformation. By guiding his mind, nurturing habits, embracing reflection, and aligning his actions with purpose, he unlocked the power that had always existed within him. His story encourages us to take the first step today, to cultivate our own focus, to build our own habits, and to trust that through consistent effort, patience, and self-awareness, we too can create a life of clarity, fulfillment, and profound meaning. And so, Aaron's journey continues, not as a tale of perfection, but as a testament to the human capacity for growth, resilience, and transformation. His story reminds us that the power to change our lives resides not in circumstances, talent, or luck, but in the choices we make, the habits we cultivate, and the dedication with which we guide our minds. Every moment is an opportunity. Every decision is a chance to practice mastery. Every day is a step toward becoming the person we are truly capable of being. As you listen to Aaron's story, remember this: your mind is the most powerful tool you will ever possess. Treat it with care, train it with patience, nurture it with consistency, reflect upon it with honesty, and allow it to guide you toward a life of purpose, clarity, and fulfillment. The journey may not be easy, and the path may be long, but the transformation is real, attainable, and extraordinary. Like Aaron, you can begin today. The moment you choose to focus, to reflect, and to act with intention, you take the first step toward a life you may have only dreamed of. A life where your mind becomes your greatest ally, your heart your guide, and your actions the manifestation of your fullest potential.